Well, we always have a lot of fun with this guy, and it is a perverse incentive for a guy like me to give my co-hosts a little bit of a Minnesota education with the majority whip, Tom Emmer. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Listen, we were talking just before the show, before we get into the serious stuff. Yeah, it's the hockey season ramping up, and you obviously have played a big role in a whole bunch of different levels of hockey, as one does in Minnesota. You were telling me a little bit about the referees, the way you're handling all of these things. What's happening these days?
These days, I mean, it's first when it comes to hockey, you know, we come from a state where this is like a religion almost.
Yes.
And I have to explain to my colleagues from Louisiana in particular that you guys don't seem to understand. There is only one sport that has actually been delivered to us straight from God above, and that is the sport of hockey. And they'll start to complain, you know, it's football. I don't have any problem with football, but remember, ice only exists in heaven. It can't exist in hell. So we are the only ones.
So there it is.
We are the chosen ones.
Logical deduction.
It really is.
It really is.
You got to think a little bit.
You got to think a little bit. Well, that's what
or
you're
as
doing
we
the
say
best.
where we come from, you got to tink a little bit.
Oh, well, there's a lot of tinking going on in Congress these days, or maybe not so much.
Tinkling, maybe not tinking.
Yeah, government shutdown. It's still going on. Listen, you all did your job. It's so long ago, I barely even remember it. I mean, you guys gave the Senate several weeks of preparation to try to figure out how to keep the government open, get benefits to people, do all the basics of government. And then somewhere along the line, Chuck Schumer figured out that he could maybe wedge some electoral advantage, particularly in Virginia, if he creates a partisan fight, disassociates federal workers, creates problems for people. It's good for them. And so we've spent a month arguing about nothing in particular. I mean, a CR that they refused to pass that, you know, basically was authored initially by Democrats, which they refused to pass. And now you found yourself in a situation the day after Election Day where they're like, oh, let's talk.
Yeah, I think they're full of you-know-what. First off, you're right. We passed a clean CR on September 19th, well in advance of the midnight on September 30th funding deadline. And it's the same CR that Chuck and company voted for last March. More importantly, it's the same one they voted for 13 times under Joe Biden, which is why I make the argument Chuck Schumer wrote the damn CR, all right?
Right.
Why did he do it? Well, it's very clear why he did it. I think you're giving him too much credit by suggesting that he actually has the intellectual capability of saying, oh, this is an electoral strategy. No, you're a moron. It is not. This is a scared old man. This is an aging athlete past his prime who is desperately afraid of losing his leadership position before he announces he is not running in another election. That's what you're dealing with. And
there's news.
And here we go. Now, yes, they couldn't open it before yesterday because if they did, the violent, virulent, pro-terrorist wing of their party, remember, 50% of Democrats polled in one poll didn't have a problem with Donald Trump being assassinated.
Yeah.
A third of their party now supports terrorists, Hamas, right? This is real. So they could not open the government because they would become the object of their anger, right? So they keep it open through yesterday, and you just know it's coming where they're going to say, we won. What? You won in Virginia. Oh, we kind of expected that Abigail Spanberger was going to win. By the way, Abigail Spanberger, very good at campaigning, is someone that she is not. She is literally Tim Walz in a dress, okay? Get ready. She is just as whacked as that guy, and she lies about everything because you're going to find out in Virginia. You know, the sad part of Virginia is, and they're celebrating this, the Attorney General, who called for the murder of his opponent and his family in texts, you actually voted for him?
Yeah.
That's sick. And then New Jersey, they win New Jersey. Okay, big deal. All right? Why don't we look at the island? because people don't do this. Let's talk about congressional races. You realize there are two districts. The 3rd district that used to be represented by a fabulist and is now represented by a Tom Sawazi character. And there's a 4th district that was represented by Anthony D'Esposito, a good friend who fought a really good fight last time, but it was way too close. And the Democrats got both of those seats. Do you know that the county executive in Nassau County, which has 75% of the 4th district, I believe it is, and 100% of the 3rd district, it was an 11-point increase between the last election and this one. Those are two, and these Democrats and the left-wing media want to tell us, ooh, this is a big bellwether. Okay, good. It's a bellwether. We're going to win.
Yeah. I mean, from a House perspective, you're entirely right. I mean, look, I don't think any Republican anywhere in the country likes to see a Republican lose anywhere. But the idea that somehow off-year elections with a party out of power in very blue states, 2 states that Donald Trump's never won, is somehow a bellwether is crazy, except when you dig into the numbers as it affects your particular house.
Yeah, and except it's not crazy, I guess, if you write for the New York Times and the Washington Post.
Well, that's his problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
He's the guy
It
that
is.
talks.
It
He's the
is.
only one that talks to all those people.
It is. And I just want to
Is
ask
there a
you.
special language?
There is super secret language,
Yeah.
and
It's usually a chill chablis.
You need a decoder ring.
Brings
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, it all comes out as bullshit, one way or the other. But I do want to ask you, because you mentioned the shutdown, and I got to think that in the negotiations, if Democrats ever decide to come back to the table, there's going to be a new date set for extending the current funding in the federal government. Right now, under the current CR, the Democrats have rejected 13 times in the Senate, even though they supported it 13 times in the past. It was set for November the 21st. I'm guessing that date is probably going to change.
Yes. Rather than do it twice in a week.
Yeah.
Well, right now it is the date. And
Yeah.
unless the Senate does something with the CR that we sent over, it will be the date. At some point, I'm sure our speaker will sit back and say, all right, you've exhausted, you've run the clock out, which, if we think about it, they should be ending it immediately. I mean, first, it's been needless, but after your last night, you got your off-ramp, do it, and then get back to the negotiating table. But if they don't, what's the next big inflection point? It's probably Thanksgiving, the busiest travel day of the year.
Right.
Right? So November 21st, at some point, the speaker has to say, all right, we got to do another clean CR. This is what it's going to go to, whatever. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
We're at a place where the Senate has the ball. We still have time on the clock, even though they burned the first 5 weeks of it, right?
Yeah.
So while there's time on the clock, do something with it. The thing that's really interesting is Chuck Schumer, who you can probably tell I'm not a fan of.
Well, it turns out not in his
No,
fan
not
club.
Yeah, he's
didn't
done.
found it.
He's done. It's over. Chuck, it's over. Just get it up. He didn't have a way out. He has a way out now. So you would expect him to take that way out now and then move on. I don't know that he can. And until you run out of time, the House has done its job.
Yeah.
There's not. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Is Chucky? I'm sure was trying to show them polling. Oh, look, we're winning the shutdown. Well, you know what? Up till last week, the vast majority of Americans didn't notice and hadn't been impacted.
Yeah.
It started literally last week. I mean, we can talk about the 65,500 small businesses across the country that contract with the federal government that the chamber says lost like $12 billion in the first month of the shutdown. But that's not 300 million people, right? When you start shutting down the airspace, when you have major flight delays, when you got 42 million low-income Americans that depend on a certain benefit to survive, people are going to notice. And by the way, when they notice, this is my belief. I don't have any proof of it. We'll see as the time goes on. But when it starts to impact them, then they get serious, and they will figure out very quickly who is causing this. And it's not the Republicans.
Yeah. So I got another question for you that's shutdown related. Chuck Schumer, who you've talked about last year, voted for the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, to be vice president of the United States. And there has been a lot of reporting about the SNAP program that Tim Walz is running with federal funds in the state of Minnesota, and a $77 million fraud that took place. And I'm wondering, I'm sure you know all about this. I'm wondering what sort of steps in leadership position in the federal government can take to investigate and get to the bottom of how this happened and how to stop it from happening again.
It's a great question. So obviously I am a Minnesotan and I love my state. Tim Walz is a very corrupt, fraudulent human being. There seems to be a theme in how I'm
Oh, don't
treating these
sugarcoat
guys.
it.
No, I'm not. Listen, he's lied about everything. He's lied about his military career. He lied about something as dumb as when he was at Tiananmen Square and got caught on national TV telling the lie. But here's the bigger thing to your question. Do you realize that according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota, the fraud that has occurred under the Walz administration, so this is not just SNAP. SNAP is $77 million last year. They overpaid it. And we better find out why. $2 billion is the estimate in fraud. I mean, they are shutting down the daycare program, the housing program. If you read anything about Minnesota, the Feeding Our Future scandal was the largest, $250 million. It was the largest pandemic scam in the country. This is all under this guy's watch. The guy was a gym teacher. I don't care what he tells you. He's never run anything in his life. To put him in charge of the state of Minnesota, he hasn't run that. Instead, when the RNC was going on last summer or a year ago, he was protesting outside the RNC, right? Pam Bondi, God bless her, she has gone into Minnesota. She is starting to look under the hood. It's not just our U.S. Attorney's Office that has done phenomenal work, even under a Biden-appointed U.S. attorney. And now under a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, they are continuing to look into this stuff. But Pam Bondi has gone in asking for voting records, for instance. We want all of you. And by the way, the federal government's entitled to that because you have a presidential race, you have congressional races, you have Senate races. So even though it's a state-based system, the federal government is entitled to have those records. You know, Minnesota has refused to provide them. I wonder why. Do you think there's any fraud in Minneapolis? Do you think there's any fraud in St. Paul? I don't know.
I read about a local hearing where they basically concluded that you could get a driver's license without any citizenship whatsoever, and that same driver's license can be used to not only register to vote but actually cast a ballot. And they looked at everybody in the government in Minnesota who was arguing the other side of this, and they were basically like, yeah.
No, that's the law, Josh. 2 years ago, they passed a law that illegals can have driver's licenses in Minnesota.
And they were celebrating it.
Well, and by the way, anecdotally, you know how many, as a member of Congress, people who see things call you. You know how it's anecdotal. Our U.S. attorney and others, our U.S. Justice Department need to investigate this stuff. But literally, people have been telling me that when you went in to apply for your driver's license as an illegal, nobody asks you whether you're legal or not. They also give you a voter registration card. Minnesota's got other problems, though. It's, I might have been in a race back about a decade ago that was decided by 8,100 ballots. Everybody remembers Norm Coleman's. In mine, there were stacks of ballots in Hennepin County, which is Minneapolis, that literally had one person's name checked, and it wasn't mine. So you ask the question, what can we do? Keep encouraging the U.S. Department of Justice to investigate, whether it's the handling of the Minnesota Housing Development Program, whether it's the program that delivered all these daycare funds to different immigrant communities who literally were bilking the Minnesota taxpayers out of all this money. You got to have a tandem approach. The other problem we have, we got one of the most worthless, it calls itself a newspaper. It's basically a blog now. It's called the Minneapolis Tribune. They report nothing. Nothing.
No, I mean, it's laughable.
You guys, the week after Tim Walz embarrassed himself on national TV telling a lie, 2 headlines in that that fish wrap the following week. The first one was.
Wait, is this the paper your friends call the Red Star?
Yeah.
I don't even give it that credit anymore. I mean, it really is something that there'd probably be a better use, and it'd probably be toilet paper. But the first headline was Governor Walz vows to own his misstatements.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
lies.
Oh, yes.
The next one, 2 days later, America's sweetheart goes on Kimmel.
God, it's just so good.
You do not have investigative reporting on all the fraud. You
No.
don't have investigative reporting on
No, they don't care.
the voter stuff. Nothing. They just look the other way.
It's no wonder how it happens.
Is there a role of congressional oversight for the House as we get beyond the government shutdown to look Minnesota? We can all talk till we're blue in the face about everything that Tim Walz has done. I got to imagine that California and a whole bunch of other blue states have similar problems. Is there a role for the House to provide some investigatory action on this, you think?
Absolutely. I mean, Jim Jordan already had a hearing.
Yeah.
He had a hearing where he called in Governor Hochul,
There's a winner.
J.B. Pritzker.
Yeah, there's another winner, the old fat man.
He's ready for winter.
Yeah,
I don't know why
Chicago's tough, man.
I don't know why the word buffet came to my mind. And then they called in Governor Walz, and that was the hearing where the question was, why have you created sanctuary states?
Yeah.
Because Tim Walz has put illegals and criminals ahead of all Minnesotans. Again,
Yeah.
the worthless media doesn't report any of
Right.
it, but
None of
it's actual fact. So yes, I mean Jim Jordan does have a oversight responsibility. Jamie Comer has an oversight responsibility. Their counterparts on the Senate side have an oversight responsibility. This is something that needs to happen, and
We
it's
gotta
long
tell a
overdue.
story. We got to tell
long
a
overdue.
story. It's long overdue. Can we talk sports for a little bit?
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
mean, first of all,
I don't know if I know anything about.
how about JJ last Sunday against?
I
the
gotta
Lions?
tell you.
Okay, come on.
Josh, we got a winner.
So
We got a winner.
Guy figures it out, right?
We got a winner. I love that they tried to criticize at the end with, well, some throws were really good and some were a little off. He kind of slid back into. Yeah, he won, baby.
yeah, he won.
He won.
He won.
And he finds a way to win.
That's the only thing we ask.
Now we just got to see if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's our year.
It's just happening.
Feels like it again.
It's happening, fellas.
Kind of feels like it's my Colts year, but it's okay. We can just talk Ohio, Minnesota all the time.
It'd be a great Super Bowl matchup. Vikings Colts.
Can
give
you
us-
imagine that?
No, I can't. I can't.
We can go.
It would be yeah. It would be a.
We'd bring the boys.
We would.
We'd argue.
Can you give me a little insight? Give these guys a little insight. It's hockey season. People are starting to do it. When you grow up in Minnesota, like everybody's involved. Even if you don't play, you're involved in hockey season at some level.
Yeah.
Like what's happening with the ranks across the state? Give us a story or two.
It's unfortunately this job has taken me away from that. I spent the better part of my childhood, all of my childhood, my college years, and then when I started raising a family. Actually, I started coaching before I started raising a family. And
It's a real coach too, by the way, not like Tim Walz.
Oh yeah.
He actually did coach it.
yeah, and I don't need to pay actors to come in and stand up for me, or whoever those relatives. Oh yeah, the relatives don't like him either. So it wasn't relatives.
They're in Omaha and they
I'm
hate
starting
him.
to think you don't like this guy.
Actually, I don't. I can work. I can work with anybody. No, I'm going to make it very clear. Because that's not Minnesota nice.
No, there it is. I was wondering where you were going to get that in.
Well,
there.
here's the reality is this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your political views are. I can work with anyone and find a way to work with them until you lie.
Yeah.
The second you start lying to me, we're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
And no, I don't like him. He lies like the devil. And people need to hold him accountable. And he thinks that they're just going to look the other way. And unfortunately, Minnesotans have been doing that for far too long. Perhaps this will be it. It's funny. He's running for governor again.
I know.
You
Third
realize?
term.
Well, you realize because he did the little victory tour. Oh, that's right, he lost, but he went to like Illinois and South Carolina. He's going to be the next voice, and it fell. I mean, it was about as what exciting as a fart in church. It went nowhere. Yeah. Matter of fact, it was more like my friend John Kakko would have said with the SH instead of the.
Yeah, well, you're being polite because you're here on the Ruthless Variety.
That's right. And I'm from Minnesota, and it doesn't sound like it. But the look, at the end of the day, the guy has lied through his teeth to Minnesotans.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. And I'm just not going to be the Minnesotan that says, oh, gosh, golly gee whiz, great to see you, and then walk down the sidewalk and go, God, I hate that son of a bitch. I'll just tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Last thing, repackaging everything that you guys have going on. Hopefully, Democrats come to their senses. They reopen the government. A lot of national media is going to misconstrue everything that happened on Tuesday as some sort of harbinger of things to come. I think you've done a good job of recognizing immediately how it affects the House in terms of the results that came back in New York in particular. But as you look out here over the next year, you like your chances. This is going to be a tough fight. Obviously, any party in power, tough fight in the first midterm to try to get over the hump and retain a majority. But where do you think things stand, and do we have a good shot at retaining the House?
So I will talk about the mechanics, which I think are really good, versus where we might be in June, July, August, going into September. But before I do, the one caveat is redistricting.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of that going on.
Very unfortunate in California last night. They're going to do something in Virginia. It's one of those things where when that's all over, if you look across the map, it still looks more favorable for Republicans than it does for Democrats. But we have to acknowledge today that until we see the final maps, and by the way, the Voting Rights Act, which is long past its validity. I mean, you can't just favor one race over all the other races. I think our Supreme Court ultimately will do the right thing, but we'll see. If they do it by the end of the year, that might have an impact on next year. If they don't, that's probably for future races. But now, the mechanics. As you know, in the last 4 House elections, we only won a net seats in 2 of them. And we were running the NRCC when we did that.
Yeah, you did a hell of a job.
We held it last time with a net -1, but we held it. So now people look and go, well, you know, that cartoon character, Hakeem Jeffries, he says, he is.
Yeah.
And he's
fair enough.
done it to himself. Actually, no, the president.
What do you call him? Timu Obama?
Yeah, Timu Barack Obama.
Yeah.
I should spend some time with you guys after I'm all done with this.
You're welcome anytime.
Kind of actually fits my...
Happy hour starts at noon, Emmer.
Yeah, well, for Pete Stauber, apparently it starts at 10 a.m. That, of course, is northern Minnesota.
Not a big goalie guy.
Fair. It comes with the culture.
The difference mechanically is this. 2018, Trump's first midterm, when we lost 40 seats, which, by the way, I think the gross vote total across the country, it was about the difference between being in the majority and being in the minority was about 120,000 gross votes, if I remember right. It was that closely divided. The thing people don't remember is we were defending 21 of our members who were in seats that Hillary Clinton had won in 2016. Completely different map this time.
Yeah, maps matter.
Yeah. We've got 3 members in seats that Kamala Harris won. Lawler in the Hudson Valley, New York. Fitzpatrick in Bucks County, PA, and the Omaha, Nebraska seat.
Yep.
Don Bacon. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself, what do those people see in Kamala? Anyway, that's a different one. They have 13 of their members in seats that Donald Trump won.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump did something that no one has ever done in our party, in my opinion. Certainly not during my lifetime. He moved the needle with traditional Democrat voters more than anyone has ever done it. He broke the unholy alliance between Democrats and Labor because Democrats left Labor long ago.
Yeah.
Labor just didn't realize it, at least Labor leadership. Now the labor movement is literally moved towards Trump, working men and women in this country, young people. He got more young people to vote for a Republican president, which is a great sign for the future. And by the way, it's a message to these communists and Marxists who literally are going to try and be the type of ruler that they don't have a problem with pandemics where they lock people in their dorm room and they tell them who they can see and when they can see them.
Long history of success for those people.
But
folks
they've
around the world.
created that group.
Yeah.
That is the new group of libertarians. That's the next generation that is coming. And they voted for him. More black voters, more Asian voters, more Hispanic voters, even more liberal Jews, right? There were, I think the president had 77 million, and I think we were around 74, somewhere in there. So I'm either rounding it up or down on either side. So there are a bunch of Trump voters. This is where I disagree with some of my Republican colleagues who say they're coming to the Republican Party. No, they're not. They're Trump voters.
Yep.
But what Donald Trump has done for us is he has made them more comfortable with looking at a Republican candidate. It used to be
He's
that,
opened the door.
Democrat good, Republican bad. Now that Donald Trump has done this, that 3 million Trump voting block is more apt to look at a Republican who is talking their language, who looks and sounds more like the district they're seeking to represent, and actually is talking about the issues that matter most to them in the language that they understand. I like our prospects based on the mechanics, because there's another 20 plus seats on the left that he didn't just move the needle on these 13. Those seats are 5 points or less. And, a swing seat in the House is defined as something that can move 5 points either way every 2 years. Well, now we've got a whole bunch, depending on a charismatic candidate, a local issue. You could have other. I mean, I just gave you one. On the island, New York 4. It shouldn't be in play. But after last night, what?
Why wouldn't
Trump
it be?
not on the ballot, and it popped up 11 points from the last time? It could be in play if you had the right candidate. So I like where we're at mechanically. We just won't know until next summer. The working families tax cut that we call it now, or the big beautiful bill that we were calling it, that permanent tax policy, according to the economic experts, of which I am not, these guys tell me that it's going to take a full 2 years for the full impact of that to hit Main Street. But they're very confident that it will be hitting by spring, and it will be gaining momentum as we go through the summer. If that's accurate, this is where it's at. People make
Economy
the decision
really
on
important in
emotion
midterms.
and how they feel about where their life is at and where the future is.
No, listen, he's the absolute best. Thank you so much for coming by here. Welcome anytime. Next time we should do this thing around 5 o'clock. Figure out how to have a cocktail or two, and you're going to get full Minnesota at that point. You only got a little bit.
Maybe I'll take the gloves off.
Tom Emmer, everybody.